All right, let's talk about a word that causes more late-night stress for students than maybe any other: assess. I know, it can feel so vague and intimidating, right? But stick with me, because we're about to turn all that confusion into some serious confidence. Let's dive in. Oh man, does this look familiar? That blinking cursor on a totally blank page, and that one little word in the assignment prompt just staring back at you? Assess. Ugh, we have all been there. It feels like this impossible task, but trust me, by the end of this, you'll see it's actually your secret roadmap to a great grade.
So, here's our game plan. First, we are going to decode what assess really means. Then, I'm going to give you a super simple 6-step guide you can literally use every single time. We'll also cover the common mistakes so you know what to avoid. And finally, we'll put it all together with a real-world example. Sound good? Let's get started.
All right, first things first. Let's take this word, demystify it, and turn it from this vague, scary idea into a clear, concrete action plan. Okay, this is the big mental shift you need to make. The second you see the word assess, I want you to stop thinking like a reporter who just lists facts. Nope. Your assignment is now asking you to put on a judge's robe. Your new job is to preside over a case. And here it is, in plain English. To assess just means to judge how good or effective or important something is. But, and this is the absolute key, you have to do it by looking at evidence and clearly explaining your reasoning. See? No mystery, just a straightforward process. So, as the judge, you can't just pick a side based on a gut feeling. Your job is to very calmly look at all the evidence, consider the arguments for and against, and then, and only then, deliver your final justified verdict. That verdict, that's the heart of your assessment. Okay, so you've got the mindset down. Perfect. Now you need the tools. So let's build out a really practical 6-step toolkit that's going to guide you from that scary blank page straight to a finished paper. Here is your roadmap. Step 1, briefly explain the topic, just to set the scene. 2, apply clear criteria. Like, how are you going to judge this thing? By its effectiveness, its impact? Step 3, evaluate its strengths and its weaknesses. 4, support every single claim you make with evidence, data, examples, sources. 5, you got to weigh that evidence, because not all points are created equal. And finally, step 6, reach a justified conclusion. That's your final verdict.
You know, knowing what to do is half the battle. The other half is knowing what not to do. So let's look at the most common traps that students fall into so you can just sidestep them completely.
This right here shows the key difference. You should absolutely make a reasoned judgment, use solid evidence, and show balance. What you should not do is just describe the topic or give your own personal opinion without any backup, and, this is a big one, don't just list a bunch of pros and cons and then walk away. A list of evidence is not a verdict.
Okay, theory is great and all, but let's make this real. We're going to take our new 6-step guide and take it for a test drive with a typical assignment prompt you might actually get in a class.
Here we go. Imagine your professor hands you this. Assess the effectiveness of government policies in reducing unemployment. Your brain should immediately light up and go straight to that 6-step toolkit. You're not just going to describe the policies, you're going to judge them.
So how would we crush this? Well, you'd start by briefly outlining the policies. That's step 1. Then you'd set up your criteria, like their economic impact and efficiency. Step 2. You talk about strengths, like jobs created, and weaknesses, like the cost. Step 3. You'd back it all up with real employment data. That's step 4. Then you'd weigh whether tax cuts or training programs had a bigger effect. Step 5. And you'd wrap it all up with a sharp, clear judgment on their overall effectiveness. That's step 6. See how it all just clicks into place?
And that's really the big takeaway here. A strong assessment isn't about having the right opinion. It's all about building the strongest, most well-supported case you possibly can. It's about proving that your conclusion is logical and flows directly from the evidence you've laid out.
So you're not staring at a blank page anymore. You have the mindset of a judge and a 6-step toolkit to guide you. That word assess isn't a wall anymore. It's an invitation to think critically and build a really powerful argument. So go on. The next time you see it, you'll know exactly what to do.